Hubie Halloween, everybody.
Stop trying to make Hubie Halloween happen.
Hubie Halloweenian.
Alright. Goosebumps, the anthological horror book series created and written by R.L. Stine back in the 90s with over 230 stories written. Stine has used fear-inspired stories to intrigue the minds of millions of children, and to us nostalgic-loving millennials, our hearts. It's almost surreal. Ask anyone out there, hey, do you know Goosebumps? And almost everyone will tell you, yeah, this one's my favorite story, this one's mine. And if they don't, fuck them. The first book that R.L. Stine wrote was Welcome to Dead House back in July of 1992. And after 3 years of success, his books got turned into a live-action series airing mostly on Fox Kids. The first episode, to which most people consider a classic nowadays, was The Haunted Mask, where a scaredy cat named... not Annabelle. Where a scaredy cat named Carly Beth wore a mask and nearly transformed into the creature she was portraying the longer she wore it. Interestingly enough, the same concept was used as the final plot twist in Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge. Spoiler. Sorry. This one I actually did own as a kid. Not watched, owned. I didn't even know the TV show existed for most of my life. Fuck. Alright. So at least half of my life I didn't know the show existed. I just saw the VHSs in a grocery store and I thought that was it. There was like 3 or 4 of them. The show nearly aired a new episode every single week for the next 3 years. But after the 74th episode, the live-action anthology series ended. Not that that would stop R.L. Stine's career. He's written different types of books, different types of series. Even various anthologies. It's never ending. Goosebumps still lives on to this day, but there's some like Inception shit where it's like an anthology inside of an anthology, but I ain't getting into that shit now. Even if his work didn't have his trademark Goosebumps title, it had his name.
From the creator of Goosebumps comes a new adventure.
I bet you might remember seeing a movie called The Haunting Hour with Emily Osment. It was a straight-to-DVD movie, but I remember watching it a few times off of Cartoon Network. Boop, boop. And its popularity spawned another show, simply dubbed The Haunting Hour. Although that's probably one of the biggest mistakes R.L. Stine made with his life is having a show called The Haunting Hour, but it only being 30 minutes long. Yeah. And even though it didn't have the Goosebumps trademark, it had R.L. Stine's vibe. Going back to Goosebumps, the show created a lot of gems. There's a few things people rarely know about, including helping launch the career of Ryan Gosling, and creating the Adam Sandler movie, Click. There's an episode based off of a short story from a book called Tales to Give You Nightmares. The episode and story literally are titled Click, where a boy buys one of those gag gifts from a comic book and receives a magic controller that universally controls things around him.
Maybe a little less.
Not even subtle. Especially when he's 60 and meets Christopher Walken, who turns out to be the Grim Reaper.
Angel of Death.
Spoiler. Sorry. That's 2. But that's enough for now. Goosebumps is not the only contender in this ring, because there was another anthology series that took the world by storm. One that also aired in the US on Nickelodeon. The show I'm talking about, of course, is Are You Afraid of the Dark? The first episode airing 2 years before Stine published his first book, back in 1990. Makes you think, eh? Speaking of the series was created in Canada. Not even subtle about it. This kid's room was a fucking hockey arena. Didn't even play the stereotypes down, they fucking leaned into them. For those that don't know, the main plot behind the show is a group of friends that meet up every so often. They're from different towns, from different schools, and they meet up in the middle of the woods, sharing stories that they've created. They dubbed themselves the Midnight Society. Even though I watched much, much more of the show when I was younger, the first episode that aired wasn't as iconic. The Tale of the Phantom Cab. A story of boys lost in the woods, forced to solve a riddle. Or die?
I ask you a riddle, and if you solve it, you can call your parents.
I digress. The other episodes are incredible, with an intro like no other to set the tone of the show. Arguably, it had the more intense, scary stories, with tales that attached themselves to the spines of the young like the ghastly Grinner. Honestly, I can never forget the tale of Dead Man's Float, no matter how many times I've tried. Better stories for sure, but definitely the worst acting. Ooh, look at that terror. Look at that fear.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me.
Oh no.
Oh my
Gonna die. Oddly enough, even though these shows were fairly similar, Are You Afraid of the Dark took the polar opposite direction of Goosebumps, where it was a show that was turned into a book series. And 2 of those episodes were actually turned into books. One was The Tale of Cutter's Treasure and The Tale of the Nightly Neighbors. The rest of the book series is original. And if we're going to be going by numbers, Goosebumps is technically more popular. It has the sales, it's got the numbers. But Are You Afraid of the Dark was ceremonial. It started in tradition, ended in tradition, each story carefully thought of and looking for approval from the other members. It demanded respect, which is what makes it tough when you ask someone, which do you prefer? Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps? Fuck out of here, So Weird. No one even asked you. Not even a fucking anthology. Goosebumps is easily accessible. You can watch it no problem with a Netflix sub. But Are You Afraid of the Dark? The only way I could really find it legally was if you bought it off of Amazon. As far as I know, that's just America. It might be more accessible with a different sub in a different country, but that's all I know. It really sucks because I love that show as much, if not more, than Goosebumps. Now, I do own the first couple of seasons, which is about 90 episodes. Point, Are You Afraid of the Dark? But when I was doing research, I saw they had a few revivals. Revivals that I have yet to see. But I digress. Let's get to the point of this video. Now, both of these series have created desktop games in the ever-classic point-and-click format. And so, in the spirit of Halloween... Is that why I got this shit on? Nah, this shit's just comfortable. But in the spirit of Halloween, I played them, just to share them with you today. Are You Afraid of the Dark might have created the game first. Another point, Goosebumps created 2. So, let's start with the top dog. First one up, Goosebumps, Attack of the Masked Mutant. Based off of the story of the same title, this point-and-click is the youngest one in the list, having been released in 1997. Oddly, this is probably my most favorite Goosebumps book that I grew up with. So, I know I'm supposed to say I'm hopeful, but I played it already, so I know I'm not. I have high hopes. You believe it, right? If you read the book or watched the episode, it's a great story. Kid reads a comic book, sees that a building in the book appears in real life. When he tries to prove its existence, it's gone. It's hidden by an invisibility cloak. And so he decides to go after the bad guy himself. Let's just say the game decided to take a different creative direction.
Hey, hold on. Easy. I'm not gonna hurt you.
And we're done. Looks like they did keep the intro. Kids seeing the building from the comic exist in the real world. But the bus driver's all...
Kid! End of the line!
Fuck you, kid. I don't care if you get murdered. I gotta go home and rewatch How I Met Your Mother for the billionth time, but only with the alternate ending because the quote-unquote real ending was absolute dog shit. And then you're just fucking there. That's the building. Bam. Fucking, I don't know, kid. Loiter. And that's where the original story gets mutilated. In the book, it was the kid, the bad guy, and one other hero that did pop up. I'll talk about that in just a second, though. But in the game, the mutant is alongside multiple other bad guys in the hideout. And oddly, at the same exact time, that is when the good guys are deciding to infiltrate. Again, none of this happens in the book. Except for the Galloping Gazelle.
It's okay. I'm okay.
Which, hey, would you look at that? They got Adam West to reprise his role.
Heck's sakes, he jammed it. Come on, kid, hurry up.
That's the thing I was talking about. Remember that from 5 seconds ago? I'll talk about that in just a second. Yeah, that's the thing. Adam West. Anyways, this is where the gameplay begins. Good guys are like, oh look, it's a kid. Hey, you wanna kill the equivalents of Osama bin Laden? You'll be fine. That's about it. That's basically where the rest of the game goes. That's it. It's super cartoony. Only live action was the intro, and the story was, well, I think it had a story, but it's just an exploring game. So technically, it was the only one of the 3 that wasn't a pure point and click. you could actually move and look around. It was a time when they were messing around with the combo of 2D and 3D graphics, you know, working simultaneously. But it was just a nice casual game. They had level that required a little skill, bosses that needed no skill, first-person shooting, and dummy-thick rats. So not technically a point-and-click, but it still demands the same skills that a point-and-click requires. You know what that means. Time for another montage. That's it. That's all you need. No point and click can be solved on its own. Don't fucking say anything in the comics. Alright, just pull up a guide, okay? You playing the point and click, just pull up a fucking guide. This game also had hidden items. Hidden superhero clothes that you could find and attach to your body. Dope. Add any abilities? Double jumps? Extra health? Nope. All it does is unlock an extra ending if you collect all of the gear. And it's nothing special. It's just, yeah, I'm a superhero now. And if you don't collect all the pieces, it's the same shit except you don't fly. I'm cutting it there. It was kind of shitty. I'm not gonna ever play that game again. I'm gonna take a break from Goosebumps for a little bit. Let's talk about the Are You Afraid of the Dark game. First things first. Fucking hell. The shit I had to go through to get this game running was just fucking ridiculous. First of all the games you see me playing here were recorded off of a virtual desktop. I had to install a fake XP on my computer because Windows 10 was just dog shit with all these games. Granted, they weren't without flaw on XP.
Palace.
Oh yeah, I streamed all of this. Everything I record, fucking skipping forward, link below. But this game would not fucking run. And that's because it was created off of MS-DOS, which is like probably should have done more research. It's something pre-Windows-ish. It can run on Windows. It's a whole thing. So what I had to do is I had to install a fucking emulator inside of another goddamn emulator. Now this is what it was like. Mount C drive, mount D drive, enter C drive, click install, select D drive, blah 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 blah. But this is what it felt like. I don't have sunglasses, so I'm just gonna edit them on. Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Tale of Orpheo's Curse.
Help me.
The only game that actually created an original story and didn't copy-paste from a past episode. You're just some kids sneaking out of their uncle's house in hopes to search an abandoned theater where the famous Orpheo used to perform. Now, this one might technically be the oldest game, having been released in 1994, but oddly, it's probably the most straightforward point-and-click game I've ever experienced. It wasn't until about halfway through the game that I was like, alright, let me get a fucking manual on this. Let me see what I gotta do. The game is mostly rendered live-action scenes, but holy compression, Batman. Just go back to Mutant, alright? Okay, we'll talk to you later, okay? But that's just the classic 90s style for these games. It does share a lot of elements with the show, and just like the show, it's the Midnight Society surrounding the fire, and you are the one telling the story. And what's nice about that is if I do fuck up, they bring you back to the Midnight Society, and they kind of give you hints. Say, hey, look for this, hey, go do that.
It's pretty creepy.
There's gotta be a way out of that. Doesn't that rope go through a pulley up above?
But that's not all. The game also shares the show's dark style, the side commentary, and of course, the acting. That alone should be why you play this game. If nothing else, that alone.
Dalton.
I can still hear that voice.
What?
Fuck! Now the story goes, Orpheo is still alive haunting the grounds. But also on the grounds there's a wax museum and a bunch of clues sitting around telling you to look for colored boxes, colored keys, and collect pieces of Orpheo himself. And like most point-and-click games, it had its own timed events. You had to wait a certain amount of time on some of them, you can't wait too long on others.
Bring me back, please.
And if you do, you're fucked. Man, come on, fucking piece of shit.
I see you got a little hung up.
Despite all of that, the game was incredible. The story was the perfect formula for Are You Afraid of the Dark? Because it's not just clues you pick up, you're picking up plot. You're picking up parts of the story. And in the end, it turns out it's not Orpheo, it's Orpheo's daughter. And she created a curse to entrap people as wax. And anyone that sneaks into the theater is forced to go through a teleportation trip, which is where people get turned into wax and their life force is absorbed into Mary, aka Orpheo's daughter. The more clues you collect, the more you learn about what's really happening. This story ended up being deeper than Damien Haas versus a popsicle. Honestly, I can't believe I slept on this one. Now, I didn't look into, the developers or who they talked to, but this captured the spirit of Are You Afraid of the Dark perfectly. And at the end, the gang discusses if the story was good enough to vote me into the Midnight Society.
Congratulations. Welcome to the Midnight.
Oh, fuck yeah. I am so putting this on my resume. Now lastly, going back to our final Goosebumps game, I want to say this has a bit of history with Mr. Stein. The last game is called Escape from Horrorland. Based off the story One Day at Horrorland, which of course I have the DVD for, where a family vacation goes astray when lost parents decide to just say, fuck it, hey, I can't find this one place, hey look, amusement park, yeah, you still love me, right?
I think this will be great, the kids will love it.
And that's how they kind of stumbled into a theme park called Horrorland.
What's a horror?
Well, luckily, if you don't have any daddy issues by the time you're 18, you'll know. And there are these creatures everywhere. And of course, it was a theme park of terror. Now, the episode was one of the two-parters where the twist was like, hey, gotcha, you're on a game show, but the game show is hosted by monsters. Call your local M. Night Shyamalan because they twisted that shit again. And humans don't even exist, they're fake, kind of like monsters in our reality, but Shyamalan. And that's kind of how the original story goes. Oddly, when I was doing some digging, I feel like R.L. Stine had some high hopes for Horrorland. I think he truly wants this park to exist. I mean, if they can give a theme park to the transphobic J.K. Rowling, why can't they just be like, psych, J.K., it's R.L.? Was I fucking drunk when I wrote this script? There's actually an entire series created about 15 years after the original story simply called Horrorland. I did find a bunch of these at a yard sale. And one of these is written as a legit book, like a tourism book. It's got the villages, it's got like ads and shit. It tells you like, hey, where to go, where not to go, what you could do. There's not even a single story in it. Literally from start to finish, it's just a where to go, how to guide. That's it. I'd be down for this park. Doesn't even need to be seasonal. Have this shit year round. Actually, there was another game created by Goosebumps simply called Horrorland, and they made it for the Wii, as well as for the DS. I was gonna add this into the video because I did play it, but it's just mini games and it didn't really relate, so maybe future? I don't know. We'll see.
You afraid of the dark?
Are you afraid of the dark? No. This is Goosebumps. Fucking idiot. Escape from Horrorland is yet another point-and-click game. But this is actually the middle child. This one was released in 1996. And it's kind of a sequel to the original story. You follow Lizzie, Luke, and Clay, who have gotten sucked into Horrorland, and they're stuck there at night. The boys are literally trapped, so it's really up to you and Lizzie to find a way out of there. Now this is just a dumpster fire of a point and click, because there is literally no fucking way you're beating this without a walkthrough. Let me give you an example. As soon as the game starts, the guide says, so just go to the cafe, grab a cockroach, and then leave. And you won't know this until you're at the very last seconds of the game, but if you don't pick up that cockroach, start the game over. Fuck you. Out of all three games, this was the worst story-driven. It tries to have its story, but the plot remains the same. Just get out. Just get your shit and get out. And it's a 2-disc game, which is not easy for a virtual desktop, and I fucked it up. I didn't save. I didn't know I had to switch discs, but I didn't save, and yeah. I almost quit this one too. So my virtual PC glitched and froze. So, fuck. Disc 2. Disc fucking 2 is where they really get into the stride of things. Not story-wise, not gameplay, that's still shitty. But just... something incredible happens. First of all, one of these kids... oh, hey, look at that fucker. Hey, you recognize him? Well, you must have had a shitty childhood if you didn't recognize that's the goddamn kid from Dunstan Checks In. Oh, hey, Charlie from the Santa Claus? Yeah, it's the fucking kid. It's the same fucking kid. But that's not the best part. Yes, here it is. Jeff fucking Goldblum. Jeff fucking Goldblum. It's Jeff fucking Goldblum. That fucking Jeff Goldblum. Guys, it's fucking Jeff Goldblum. That's it. That's it. That automatically makes this game god tier. An instant collectible. Oh, what's this? News just came in. Used copies are going on eBay for $1 billion.
The Scarecrow walks at midnight.
Johnny fucking Bravo is in this game? What the fuck? Now, Goldblum is playing Dracula. But let's be real, Goldblum just playing Goldblum. This part is, I don't know. You hypnotize Dracula, and while he's dancing with Lizzie, you're just searching his pockets for shit. Looks like the girl that played Lizzie quit acting after this. I mean, that's the fucking goal. How you gonna get higher than that? You're fucking at the pinnacle. Just quit. Well done. Bravo. Big brain. That's a big brain move right there. Anyway, and they do some shit, blah, 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 free their parents, escape from Horrorland with the greatest graphics known to man. That does it. That's it. As much as I love the Are You Afraid of the Dark game, the eldest of the three, the most original, the one that I would play again, obviously inferior to our Lord and Savior, Jeffy Goldboy. Despite all of this, Are You Afraid of the Dark is still my favorite horror series as a... okay, no, you're right, Courage. You're right. Are You Afraid of the Dark is still my favorite live-action horror series for this age group.
Get out of here. I've been looking for you for like 4 years. And then finally Disney Plus comes out and it's like, oh yeah, I've been here the whole time. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Hubie Halloween. Oh, fuck. God damn it. Hubie Halloween, everybody. Hubie Halloween. I should have recorded like this all along. Bobby Moynihan.